alive. Oh, he's alive.
I'm not singing for you. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I love you.
I know.
Here's Johnny.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
I see dead people.
Milk was a bad choice.
Welcome to the How to Be a Movie Snob podcast. Before we get started, I'm going to read some reviews from a movie that we'll be talking about today. This is a review from the year it came out. To make his points, this director always takes an easy, simple-minded path that doesn't give much credit to the intelligence of the audience. It only has a few unsentimental moments here and there. Terrifying, asphyxiating story about growing up and relinquishing your dreams, of seeing your father driven to the grave before his time, of living among bitter, small-minded people. It's a story of being trapped, of compromising and watching others move ahead and away, and becoming filled with rage that you verbally abuse your children, their teacher, and oppress your your oppressively perfect wife.
It is cynical and accurate.
Today we're talking about It's a Wonderful Life. Is it?
Is it?
Is it? Oh, man. It's the Christmas season, so we are going to talk about the most watched Christmas movie of all time. I think I can say that. Probably. Most watched Christmas movie of all time. The Frank Capra classic, It's a Wonderful Life, and maybe due to some poor paperwork, it's the most watched Christmas movie of all time. So, a lot to talk about. This is a movie we've all seen a million times, thanks to every network. Let's start off with kind of just what the movie's about. What would you say the movie's about, Mariah?
The movie is about poor George Bailey, who does nothing but nice stuff for everyone else and gets nothing but passed over and
he got a nice set of luggage, I think.
Leaned on, and he's a bit of a doormat. And things finally come to a head, and he loses it.
Man, you are just taking there, but no, this is about.
I'm not taking that review. I was already kind of leaning.
Yeah, you did. I should let you do that.
Why did you let me do it?
I know. So it's about George Bailey. He gets a chance to see the world if he was not in it.
I was getting there.
Oh, were you? It just seemed like it was cynical.
Just starting real dark.
Real slow. And poor George, he gets to see it, and we see the clever angels and even some technological advances. Oh, but this movie, so interesting. Based on The Greatest Gift, a 1939 short story. This is a hilarious thing. I was thinking of your brother Patrick for this. Do you know the story of this one as well? He couldn't get it published.
Oh,
poor guy. I know, and it was only like a 12-page story. Couldn't get it published. So what's he do? Like any good cartoonist who wants to see his art out there, he makes it a Christmas card. And he sent out his 12-page story as his Christmas card one year.
Oh.
Right? Merry Christmas, everybody.
And it worked.
It was great. I mean, it's a great story. So that is what... Oh, did I say 12? It was 21. My fault.
Oh.
Yeah. 200
That
friends,
makes it sillier to send as a Christmas card.
21-page Christmas card. Oh, it's rough enough to get a single-spaced Christmas newsletter. Those are the worst. I'm like, yep, okay. I'll look at those 3 pictures and maybe skim the first part.
I just sent about 45 of those out.
Oh, good for you.
You didn't get one.
What? That's so messed up.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to no one. I have one for you upstairs. Come on. Okay, so this is an American classic, and it is the Christmas season, and it is on every greatest movie list of all time. It's always on the list, which is hilarious. So, as usual, since it's on the greatest movies of all time, did it win the Oscar that year?
No.
No.
Well, it won a Oscar.
It won a technical Oscar, which is kind of impressive, actually. They do go...
It opened
it
up for some realistic snow action.
Oh, for sure. Like, I was... And, yeah, probably changed the way snow is used from here on out. So, let's talk about in the rank of Christmas movies. Is this the best Christmas movie of all time?
It's pretty solid.
It's got to be up there. I mean,
it's not super kid friendly.
No.
It's not good for the whole family.
Which is weird, though, because we watched it as kids. It was on TV all the time.
We watched James Bond as kids.
I didn't watch James Bond as a kid. We may be family, but we were raised in two different families. Yeah. Okay, the classic ones, it's A Christmas Story. Comedies, you got... Honestly, usually they're comedies or feel good for most of the Christmas stories, like Miracle on 34th Street.
Or musicals.
Yeah. Holiday Inn. Or...
White Christmas. Which one's better, by the way? White Christmas.
Oh, disagree.
You didn't have to cut out racism.
Yeah, but you had Fred Astaire. Danny Kaye.
He's pretty great.
Is not a great dancer or singer.
He's funny.
Fred Astaire is the greatest ever. And Bing is arguably one of the greatest ever. So how can you compete with that? Sure, you got a little blackface in there. I'll give you that. Not great. Not great.
I really like the songs in White Christmas.
Oh, the story is so much better in... Anyways.
They're both good.
They're both kind of, yeah. And one's black and white, one's color. Anyways, so this one, more, dare I say, more popular than those. Although White Christmas does kind of win most sold song of all time. But let's go into It's a Wonderful Life, because this came out in what year did it come out?
46.
1946. So we're still, the war is a very, very close memory. So much so that the director, the famous Frank Capra, this is his first movie he did after the war.
Because he was in it.
Because he was freaking in the war. And there's a lovely documentary on Netflix, which I just started going in, about the 5 filmmakers, like the 5 top filmmakers of the time, going to war and making movies for the U.S., trying to fight against Germany's propaganda machine, which, to be honest, they were terrified of. Frank Capra actually saw Triumph and Will and says, we're going to lose this war, because he was so blown away with it. But then he's like, oh, I know what I need to do. So instead of making a movie to like go against it, Capra's like, he just showed Triumph of Will, Mussolini, and the Japanese propaganda and put it all together in a film and just showed it to Americans. Like, hey, this is what we're up against. What are you going to do? Which is pretty brilliant.
That would light a fire.
Oh, yeah, because it's always like the underdog story. We always prefer that underdog story.
Yeah.
And Frank Capra, so I didn't know this, but going into the war, Frank Capra was like arguably the best, most acclaimed director going in. He just won Best Director the last 3 years previous to the war. His last 3 pictures, he won Best Picture.
And he'd been at it for, what, a dozen years or so?
Oh, yeah. He started in silent film. So he made the transition seamlessly. So you have this incredible director who goes into the war and is like the first one to sign up. Like as soon as Pearl Harbor bombs drop, he's like, I'm in. I'm making films, and he's in it. He had some good stuff and bad stuff. A lot of those animations, from World War II, that's a Frank Capra directed thing. That was his kind of concept, to get like really simple animations to kind of drive the concepts home. He was more like the big idea picture. Some of the other guys like Houston were like the more like gritty documentary. But he was like the big picture, and sometimes they're great, sometimes they were awful. So I'm just going to list off the movies before we get here, just kind of a little background. It Happened One Night.
Good movie. Right?
Isn't that the first one where like she like puts her leg out to get a car?
I think so, yeah.
It's so iconic when you just know, oh, that's what the cartoons like make reference to, is all these classic movies. And it's funny, we know movies by the cartoons we watched growing up. So all these. Mr. Deed goes to town. You Can't Take It With You. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'm pretty sure all of those have been redone as well. So they're all of them just knocked it out of the park. So he goes on, does the war movie, and then he gets out, and people think, oh, maybe making another movie about like your time in the war, but he said he was so
sick of it,
over it, and it went down to I think he got shelled. I forget where he was at, but they were getting shelled, and he just was disenfranchised by war toward the end there completely. And so one of his big things was, I want to make something as far away from the war as possible. And so that's why he went to this It's a Wonderful Life, taking the story. And it really is a far cry. Like, you wouldn't know anything about the war other than... Does anyone come back from the war in the movie? They all come back from college.
His brother was a war hero. Yeah.
Of course. That's a whole big subplot. And so there is homage to that. But then we think about the movie that it lost to. And the movie that it lost to was...
The Best Years of Our Lives.
Which you've seen.
A post-war movie.
Can you give the synopsis of that, since I just skimmed through it for the first time today?
Oh, sure. And this is just from me not having watched it for a little bit. But it follows the lives of 3 guys who come back from the war. Mm-hmm. And how that plays out for them. One of them comes home, finds his wife's with somebody else. Mm-hmm. Oh. One comes home to... has 2 adult children and a wife, and is just trying to reacclimate himself back.
That's right.
And then the third guy...
See the single one?
Is the single one who I believe is an amputee.
Oh, loses his hands, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was hard. That was
comes home and he has his old girlfriend that wants to help him.
Yeah. I watched that scene where the dad buttons his shirt.
They struggle with work. They struggle with their love lives. They struggle with...
Oh, so good.
All of it. It's very emotional, and it must have been so raw for everybody watching at the time, because it was right after.
I can't even imagine. I can't imagine the feelings of being that involved with at every level, because World War II had so many people that were involved and died, and then to have a movie like that, it must have just and it was a critical, I mean, it was a success at the box office, not just a critical.
All over the place it was a success. It was good. It tugged on all the heartstrings. It was relevant for the time, and It's a Wonderful Life is also emotional and strong, but it's not war, but it wasn't relevant at the time, and that's all everybody was thinking.
That's interesting. I probably would have been a fan of not A Wonderful Life. I would have been a fan of the other movie, because the other one, Wonderful Life, would be like, is it too much escapism? Is it too, like, what's the...
Right. And I bet there were some people that wanted the escapism, and I think that's what Capra was kind of, that's where he was at.
Banking on, yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure there was a lot of people. I mean, it was nominated for the Oscar. It's not that it was nothing.
True.
But for sure, the one that was the stronger choice was the one that was more relevant for the time.
It's so interesting thinking, like, if I had watched both of those that year, which movie would I have really thought is the best? It's hard because this one has gotten so much more play since then. And you wonder, is this considered one of the best movies of all time because of it being a holiday movie and getting so much airplay? I mean, but it does hit on all cylinders. Like, don't get me wrong, like, the actual movie is legitimately very rewatchable. Mm-hmm. I realized I hadn't even watched the whole thing until probably 10, 15 years ago. I just watched it in little pieces because it was played on television every single year. But yeah, I could totally see why it wouldn't be as critically famous for that time. Or yeah, people would want to watch it because they want to see they want something that they can relate to on all levels.
Well, and the best years of our lives too is revolving around 3 stories. You know, there's more than one main character, and their lives are intertwined, and there's a lot more drama. And the other one's about the crash, the 1929 crash. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's not. So the war he comes back from must be World War One in the movie, right? Because it can't be World War Two. True. So it's all about ancient history. Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing too. Like it doesn't feel as poignant as this new era where they've seen war films every day, every week in the cinema. They've been seeing these war films before the movies they watch. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I totally can see why. Yeah, it just didn't probably tug at the heartstrings the way the other like a more relevant film would have. Mm-hmm. But It's a Wonderful Life has the longevity. Oh yeah. It could fit any time period. Like, I wouldn't have known that it was post-war. Except for film-wise, it's better shot than some pre-war stuff, for the most part. But I wouldn't have known that just being, oh, yeah, that's definitely after World War II. Mm-hmm. Why would I know that? Like, there's no... Yeah. One thing that was very modern about it was the fact that they even... we're talking about suicide. Oh, yeah. And making that, Interesting, yeah. Which is so interesting because, like, obviously in the Great Depression, a bunch of people committed suicide. So, and I guess this is true because during the Great Depression, though, was before the Hays Code. So there was no codes before. So you could talk about things like cross-dressing and more sexually explicit stuff. And probably suicide. But then you have the Hays Codes that come out, so that everything's post-code. So yeah, that probably was like, it's always like, yeah, you couldn't do that. It's surprising they could do that back then, unless it was really far back then and there was no rules at all. Right. So yeah, no, that is interesting. Oh man. So thinking through, let's talk about the 5 awards it was nominated for. It was nominated for Best Picture. It was nominated for Best Director, which it's Capra. It's like Spielberg getting another nomination. It probably felt like, oh, of course he's going to get nominated. Best Actor. What else did he get nominated for? Let's check out the awards. Best Film Editing and Best Sound Recording, and yeah, Actor. Snow. And then what it won for is The Snow for RKO. Oh, another interesting thing. The production company that made this was Liberty Films, owned by Frank Capra, that put out a total of 2 movies. And then was quickly bought up. Hence the bad paperwork. Well, so it gets a little tricky with that. With the bad paperwork, it started out with, it was... because it got sold to... To clarify, this movie was played so many times because there was no copyright. Because there was no copyright. Someone forgot to fill out the forms right. So okay, let's look this up real quick. I just read this, but it's... So RKO bought... Oh no, RKO shot it. Sorry. Move down here. Go responses. Liberty. Okay, Liberty. So the Paramount bought them first. And they were good. They kept it up. Then it remained a subsidy until 1951. And in 1955, M&A Alexander purchased the movie. This included the key rights to the original television syndication and the original nitrate film elements. And then, but the greatest gift was still had rights to be... had a copyright on it. But then there was a then the National Telefilm Associates took the rights after the M&A Alexander. And they had a clerical error that prevented them from renewing the rights in 1974. So that's 20 years after the film came out. Mm-hmm. And that's when it started getting played all the time. And so then it was played on every station. But then there was a deal with RKO and Turner Warner Brothers. And then they said they would play
what was it, Warner Brothers? Basically, they said we'd only play it after holidays, so on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. And so Paramount or Viacom, they're the one who bought it in 1998. So since then, it wasn't played as much. But man, dot those T's and cross those I's.
You can't really catch it for free often anymore.
No, not anymore. So it is now. It's more. It's a little harder to see, although Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So there's always something, and there's the colorization versions.
Three.
Yeah, that was crazy. So like depending on which one you want.
Yeah.
Oh, just crazy. So copyrights are a funny thing because every year, like Winnie the Pooh just went up for copyright is public domain right now because it's been over 100 years. But this is one of those crazy ones. Like you can find some crazy films if they don't do the copyright correctly, that you can just use the whole thing whatever any way you want. Mm-hmm. So now, and I kind of wish that this was more prevalent because it's kind of dumb. Like Disney owning crazy, like it's a fairy tale. Like there shouldn't be rights on that, but yet that's how it is. So. But in the meantime, we're used to that. So having the no copyright made it more accessible. So the question is, what if the other movies had no copyright? Would they be the greatest of all time? Probably not. Because they weren't as timeless. They were depressing. Because even as depressing as you say George's life was, there's still redemption at the end.
Yeah. It just sets up in a way that you feel for him. I mean, I think it's setting it up so that you're actually kind of going, I can see why he's thinking about jumping off that bridge right now. Boy, he hasn't had one good thing go he's deaf in one ear.
Oh, man, got beat by the guy. I mean, was a deaf ear worth that luggage? That's what I really want to know. Okay.
Was Uncle Billy worth it?
Oh, jeez. Or the kid that he saved. Come on now. Okay, I'll give you that. So, watching it again, what were the things that stood out to you this time watching?
Well, now that I'm aware of the snow Oscar, I was watching it thinking, that seems like real snow.
Yeah.
It was really, honestly, that was well done. Especially for a movie back then.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, hey, I believed it.
So for me, every time I watch this, Jimmy Stewart's Jimmy Stewart. You can't help but just look at him.
He's great.
He just mesmerizes. You just like him. Everything about him, you just like him. Everything about him is just, even when he's like a total jerk. The part that always blew me away in this movie is the love scene between George and Mary. Weird and messy and ugly and it's I just don't get. It's just so. I just remember thinking, is this how it goes? Like,
yeah, the phone call.
The phone call.
Yeah.
And then the yelling at each other and not know what they want. And that's the other thing, too, I guess.
The whole scene in the bushes.
That was so funny. I'm like, this is scandalous.
This is hilarious.
Am I supposed to like George now? Like,
yeah.
You know, he's supposed to be this wholesome guy, but then he's still like a guy trying to like...
I have a hard time liking Mary 100%.
Oh, sure.
Just because she allowed, him to give everything up.
Huh.
It was totally, she knew what he wanted to do. She knew all the things he'd been dreaming of doing, and she was really happy to have him stay and give it all up. And
so you think that's kind of like her ulterior motive to keep him around her?
Well, it was hard for me that nobody acknowledged that he was giving so much up.
Oh, sure. Right.
Because like I said, I mean, you look around, everybody got what they wanted in life except George till the end. And he realized, he already has everything.
But it would be nice to visit the pyramids once.
Yeah. Man, he didn't even get the honeymoon.
You know what this movie is the opposite of? La La Land. This is the exact opposite message of La La Land. Everything in La La Land's like, hey, don't worry about that relationship. Don't worry about like doing things for other people. It's all about your dream, baby. And that's it. But then this movie's like, no, your feelings and dreams don't matter. There's a greater good. Actually, speaking of that, what's that sound like? In this era, what do you think it got accused of being? It's not about your dreams. It's about the greater good. Communist. They said this is a communist movie, right?
That's true.
Right? Which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, that's not okay. They would call it
a little bit.
It's a little comedy. I'm sure it's fine. It's fine. But that's that. But back then, like everyone was so terrified of the Red Scare, or more importantly, being classified as a communist, that was a huge deal. But so you have one movie that's super patriotic about soldiers reacclimating to life, and this other one that's saying, "Hey, give up your needs and wants for the greater good, which is the community." So George would be an excellent comrade, I guess I say. Shall we call him Comrade George?
Comrade. Yes.
The most American movie, Comrade George. Yeah, and that's the part that's still the hardest thing is like giving. Is it greater to give than receive? And so like if you want to go like biblical on this, like that would probably be. George doesn't actually know what the best thing in his life is. The best thing in his life probably would be the fact that he gets to give. So the argument would be George is the most blessed one in this story.
And in the end, he feels that way.
Right.
It's just it was a little bit of a
as a guy who traveled
hard thing to watch for him to get there.
Yeah, as a guy who was single to his 30-something, I was like, oh, dude, come on, man. but that's the thing. Like, but. Does anyone regret being generous to someone else? And so that's where you have to like, you don't like it. It doesn't feel American. Yeah. So that's another thing interesting about this movie is and Capra was a Catholic. He was a good Catholic boy, although he called himself a Christmas Catholic. but that's like one of those stories. It probably feels so good because. To be the good guy, you're always. I mean, honestly, it's like Superman. Superman.
Well,
never
and the
gets
narration is angels.
Angels. It's like so there's probably obviously.
You know, the whole time people are watching George.
Yes.
You know, there's some plan for George, so it makes you.
So he is the Messiah character. Am I wrong here? Like, is he not the Messiah character here? Because he's the one that's. Saving the town, saving all these things, and being a servant first before
saving everybody.
Yeah, it's a very
getting persecuted.
100%. Throw it on that cross, baby.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
they just sent Clarence to block it.
Yeah, I wasn't stoked on Clarence character. It's like, oh, little Clarence, good on ya.
I wish he would have been a little stronger character. Or a little funnier, or a little something.
Well, it's hard when you got Jimmy Stewart.
Yes.
I mean, when the main character is the funniest one. That's the crazy part. He's the comic relief. Like, when you have the main character, that is the impressive thing about Jimmy Stewart. You don't need comic relief with him, because he can be the leading guy and be the comic relief. It's just, yeah. It's pretty incredible. All right. Now, the most important thing about this whole movie, you can't see it, but I got two stuffed animals here, as my daughter calls them, stuffies, of Bert and Ernie, which I have to play the voices of quite often, usually the fishing parody. You fishy, fishy, fishy. It's a great delight. Was Bert and Ernie. Were Bert and Ernie. Was Bert and Ernie? Were Bert and Ernie. Were they named after the cab driver and the officer? The answer is probably not. Coincidence, they say?
But wouldn't it have been cool if they were?
So it's cool. I literally said, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know, like, I just assumed, I'm like, oh, well, that's where they got Bert and Ernie from. The first time I saw Bert and Ernie being called out. Like,
I mean, it had its own section on the Wikipedia page.
Oh, so it's got to be good. Yeah.
There's some evidence there.
Definitely some evidence there.
That's what you could have cold called Patrick for. Bert and Ernie voices.
Hey there. Can he do Bert and Ernie pretty well? No, we're gonna call Pat on his favorite Christmas movie. What do you think? That's a good cold call, right? See if he remembers Thursday nights.
Please leave your message
for... boo.
Denied.
Okay. Our cold call today will be Megan.
Hey, babe, what's up?
Hey, welcome to How to Be a Film Snob podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
I'm glad you're here.
Thanks so much.
Favorite part of It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh,
sorry. For those not listening, this is my lovely wife, Megan, who loves Christmas movies more than any other type of movies, I dare say. Would that be a fair statement, babe?
I mean, I do enjoy some good and some bad Christmas movies. That is true.
Probably not in that order.
Hey, now. Remember, I'm your wife.
That's
Lovely
right.
Wife. You started off better. Favorite part? I mean, there's the classic, like when he's holding his kids and the weeping over finding them again, and they're all crying and they're confused.
Bell.
He's crying and they're all confused, and
right.
The bell with the angels getting their wings. That's on the verge of too much for me. But
wow, even for really all those.
I like the discrepancy of him being sobbing and distraught and so happy, and his whole family's so confused. You were gone for 20 minutes. What's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, it was a short time.
You're
not even that. It's like he couldn't even gone to that bar for that long. That
right?
Was,
I mean, he wasn't actually gone very long at all. But he's just so happy, and he's sloppy, messy, kissy, happy, sad. I think it's pretty fantastic.
You just abused the teacher, and now you're sloppily kissing us. What's going on right now?
So, and I mean, and when all the people bring the money, they're all giving back. I think that's great.
See, and that's see, it's a good thing we called me. I didn't think about that part.
You called who?
That's why we called you, because you actually have the heart.
Are you guys just criticizing?
We're thinking about that part, going, "Oh, it's about time." You guys have just been getting handouts.
Jeez Louise, I know.
But that's the thing. It all takes time. You get helped, and sometimes it takes a while before you remember to help back. So
that's true.
That's true.
Or before you realize somebody needs help, because sometimes we don't let that be known that we even need help. So it took distress.
And he didn't ask for it.
No.
And he didn't ask for it. That's true.
He didn't even tell anybody. He just tried to fix it, which was not doing anything. So
you can't do it. No man's an island, Megan. Good point. No man's an island.
So
Would you say this is your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
No. What's interesting is I didn't watch this movie fully until just a few years ago with you. When
we both watched it for the first time. Yeah, that's right.
Identifying the different parts of the movies we remembered seeing and the parts that we did not have any recollection of, because we'd only 100%. Ever watched it on old school TV, channel 12 or 2 or whatever, and
KUT.
Got distracted between commercials, and they probably cut stuff out, and we sat there going, "Oh, this actually is a pretty good movie." And there's all these parts we've never seen before.
I was pleasantly surprised of how watchable it was. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and the classic parts I remembered you had never seen before, and whole plot points I had never seen before, really understood. I was "Oh, that's what
makes
was
so
going
much
on.
More sense with the bells and the angels. Yeah, that made no
Which
sense
is
before.
the only parts I remembered. I didn't remember the bank or losing the money. I was always so confused.
I think it's the most traumatizing
why are they
to
bringing
me.
in money? I don't understand. I never understood. So what? We were 35 years old and in a foreign country. We're well, let's watch this really weird old movie.
Yeah, this really weird but very American movie.
Mm-hmm. And classic.
Yeah, classic. Although we were joking about how this isn't a very American ideals type of movie. It even got accused of being a communist movie because it's
oh, that's funny.
The one guy gives up his own needs for the greater needs of the many. So, yeah, great insight, babe. That's some good information. I didn't. I I think about those things, but I don't. It doesn't come to the forefront of like, oh yeah, this is the reason, and this is why. So you said this isn't your favorite movie, though. What is your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
Oh, I don't know. I like myself a good Die Hard.
Hard. Nice.
I like Die Hard.
I also have only seen that recently. That's embarrassing to say. I know. It was good. I enjoyed it though.
Classic.
I enjoyed it. One of the first
and then,
action movies where someone just runs away the whole time, by the way.
Right? Hey.
He does.
Bruce was awesome.
He just runs away.
And then I like the Queen Latifah something
Get
holiday
out of
movie.
here.
Like
Last holiday.
Last holiday.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's great.
Now I need to watch
It's
it.
like
it's fine.
it's not quite.
She just finds out
better
she's
than Hallmark.
She finds out she's dying, right?
Yeah.
So she
So
lives
it's
it
like,
up.
It's not realistic. It's not that it's realistic. It's just fun, and she's fun, and I think
Queen Latifah is fun.
Is a fun actress, but not over the top. It's just kind of my perfect, a little romance, a little like
UNITY.
absurd, like, oh, that could never happen in real life, but how fun, kind of.
All right.
Nothing over the top, and nothing like rude or graphic or anything.
Nice movies are yeah.
I don't have to close my eyes or fast forward through any of it, and it's just It's just sweet.
It's sweet. That's great.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks for the time, Megan. You've been very insightful and very informed. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Till next time.
You're so welcome. I'm happy I could be here.
Thanks, Megan. Talk to you soon.
You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
I was thinking about that when she was
you knew
discussing.
I was gonna ask you.
Because there's going to be old and there's going to be new.
True.
I can't just have one.
Right. So you got to do. Oh, okay. I can do old and new. I can do. Well, I got to. Oh, okay. You go. I have a couple.
Goodness. Of the old ones, I kind of like Miracle on 34th Street.
Get out of here. More than It's a Wonderful Life. Mm-hmm. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, it's great.
It's great. It's I don't know, the whole Santa Claus debate and believing and
that's good.
The actors are good in it.
Yeah, no,
I really like the actors. I've always liked Macy's.
Oh yeah.
Parade.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so that I don't know. For some reason, it kind of just made me feel the Christmas spirit type of thing.
That's great.
I would say current movies though, Love Actually.
Get out of here.
I always have to watch it because there's so many storylines. There's good stuff.
You know what's funny? I love the multiple storyline thing is money, except for Valentine's Day. That movie sucked. But other than that, actually, that's why I don't like the new House of Dragon, because it's one storyline.
Yeah.
I'm bored. The whole point of Game of Thrones is like you got 17 different storylines, and a couple might lag off, but the other ones are going to kick butt.
Did you watch Spirited yet?
No, my Apple Plus subscription just lapsed. I got to buy a new Apple product or something. So
I just watched it.
Is it as funny as I expect it, or is it just
cute?
It's cute. Yeah,
it's good.
I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. You can't go wrong. You just like them on screen.
They do a good job.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be great.
They do a good job.
Okay, so you ready for some of these movies that pop up for? So, my favorite. I'm gonna go with The Christmas Carol story, but told by the Muppets. The Muppets Christmas Carol is
solid.
It's so solid.
The songs.
Oh, by the way, when's the last time you've heard? Oh my God, Michael Caine. Michael Caine sing.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's good.
My goodness. You got Michael Caine as
I have
Scrooge.
to say, I might watch that as much as anything else.
He might be the best Scrooge of any out there.
Yeah, he's the best Scrooge.
It's the best. And so, no, I
Not
still...
Patrick Stewart.
It's hard for me to say no to Patrick Stewart until I saw the original Dune. And then I realized, okay, Patrick Stewart...
He has made some mistakes.
Patrick Stewart came and saved this movie. Oh, I'm like, the new one is so good. So I'm like, oh, the old one must be good too. No, it's unwatchable.
You know my son's favorite movie, Christmas movie?
The Grinch.
Home Alone.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's about a maniac who tries to hurt people all the time. Now, Home Alone is crazy. They're so mean to each other in that movie. They're so mean.
But there's so much body humor.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much physical humor, and
it killed. When it came out, I remember just thinking it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Or is the kid that plays his brother that plays his
Biff?
cousin?
No.
It's his little brother. It's another Culkin.
Oh, yes.
And he plays the cousin that he has to sleep with. And he's like,
he's what's pissed.
Lay off the Pepsi.
It's so good. It's so good.
I can't sleep with Fuller. He wets the bed. He just leans forward and smiles.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
The other movies, which I'm a little bummed they came out with, I haven't watched this series yet, so you think I don't really like the movie, but the original Santa Claus, I thought Tim Allen in Santa Claus 1 and 2 killed it.
Yeah.
Santa Claus 3 is unwatchable.
I don't think I've tried to watch
Not
it.
good. Not good.
No. Prancer I liked for a time.
Oh, there we go. That's good. Not like... And Scrooge is just so 80s. It feels... When I watch it now, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. It's
That's what Spirited is. It's the new
Scrooged.
But it's
okay.
got, two guys, and they're singing and
they're
dancing.
great. I know. You can't go wrong. You can't
and
go wrong.
Octavia Spencer's in it.
Oh,
she's
good.
great.
Yep. Okay, favorite Christmas musical, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Holiday.
White Christmas.
White Christmas. I think, and mine's Holiday Inn probably.
Although you go back to Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yeah, no Muppet Christmas Carol. Duh, that's not even close. Not even close.
What about Emmett Otter? How do you feel about Emmett Otter's Junk Band Christmas?
Well, haven't seen it, but I have seen A Nightmare Before Christmas, and that one should be on the list.
It's Finn's favorite Halloween. He's still iffy about whether or not he considers it a Christmas movie.
I don't know if I could do either, but
he did wear his Jack shirt today for character.
Oh, that's so good.
Day
That's
at
so
school.
Good. I'm surprised you didn't bring up Jingle All the Way. I thought that was your favorite.
No, I didn't.
It's so funny because it's almost...
Or Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah, well, Jingle All the Way holds a special place because it's so bad, and it was so bad originally. But that's almost the appeal of it. It's almost like... This is pinnacle Arnold and pinnacle Sinbad. Like, at the heights of their powers. Like... Sinbad was never more popular than he was the year that came out. And it was just so terrible, but so cheesy over the top terrible that it's kind of redeeming. I mean, you have Kung Fu Santas that you're fighting. I mean, it's horrible.
It's bad.
But I'll watch it almost every year.
You know, I have one comment about Die Hard.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Bruce Willis
says
Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
Well, that's where it gets weird. Because, okay, you ready for the other?
If the star says it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And sorry, Bruce Willis is another sad conversation because now he's like selling his likeness because he can't like speak anymore. Poor guy. But then, so the other 80s Christmas movies.
Hans Gruber is gone.
Trading Places.
That's a Christmas movie?
That's what I'm saying. It's the same sort of thing. Like it takes place kind of during that time, it's Christmas. And then you got When Harry Met Sally, kind of during Christmas, kind of not. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, kind of during Christmas.
I think that
you
is
see what I'm
Christmas because he's trying to get home for Christmas.
It's true, but it's all, and then National Lampoon's Vacation and Gremlins is technically a Christmas movie. And then you got like Babes in Toyland. I mean, there's like Lethal Weapon takes place during Christmas. So like, there's a lot of like, where does it stop for being a Christmas movie? And even
it's true. And some of those I would have strong arguments against.
Sure,
like
exactly
just because you got the Gremlin for Christmas doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
Or does it?
Because the movie starts with Christmas ending.
Okay, you ready for this? 90s Christmas movies. Here's a list: Batman Returns.
No,
because it takes place during Christmas.
Because there's that party, a Christmas party.
Edward Scissorhands. Stanley Kubrick's in the mix now. Eyes Wide Shut.
I wouldn't know. I'm never ever gonna watch that movie.
While you were sleeping, I saw that.
Yeah, that's kind of Christmas movie. Yeah.
Hook. We consider it a Christmas movie because we watch it every year for Christmas, which is hilarious. Beauty and the Beast, Christmas movie.
Because they have a snowball fight,
right? Whatever. It's that's what I'm saying. Like it's pretty loosey goosey on Christmas movies.
So is Frozen a Christmas movie?
Darn tootin'! Well, no, but the Frozen special where there's where they're trying to figure out their Christmas traditions is definitely Christmas. Harold and Kumar Christmas. Okay, that's actually legit.
If it's in the name,
it's in the name. Anyways, Christmas is a silly topic, but you know what isn't silly? A Wonderful Life.
No.
How is it played in 2022? Is it still legit?
Still relevant.
Oh yeah.
So good.
So good. I think everyone should watch it.
It's a beautiful movie.
It is, and I think the story. It raises the question, is it better to give than to receive? And I think that is a beautiful question to ask, and it's done in such an amazing way. So yes, it's as relevant today as it was in 1947.
Yes.
And that's us from the Film Snobs. Thanks for watching. Okay, I do a lot of film stuff, all right? Give me a break. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Next week, new top movie of all time. So
not an easy one.
Not an easy one. We're going to do hard ones. We're going to probably even a foreign language, maybe?
Yes.
I'm thinking a foreign language.
Bring it.
Either French or Japanese. We're going to go into it. Anyways, hope you're becoming a snob with us or you're learning more because this has been fun. And we can't wait to hear some more and see some more great movies so that one day we can be good movie snobs. Take care, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.